What is going on, everyone? It's Mike from Blue Boys Network, and it's Ian Mills from Across the Park podcast, see at the bottom there. And we continue to be sponsored by Flyers Indoor Golf. The bays have gone in today. The parking bays have gone in. The bar has been... They've added 9 more pumps, so there's plenty more space for people to drink. The toilets have been done, so we are looking forward to welcoming you guys on the 9th of August to Flyers, where me, John, and Mr. Ian Mills hopefully will be there.
Yeah, that's not long, is it? That's creeping up on us quite rapidly.
Well, that's kind of the purpose of the video here, Millsy, to give too much away here, mate, because we've got some issues, in my opinion. But I'm hoping you're either gonna help or you're gonna not help. To be honest,
make you feel worse.
Yeah. So, but yeah, make sure you get yourself over to Flyers Indoor Golf. Get yourself on the website. Get yourself booked in. And they are doing special deals and things at the minute. And I quite like the fact that they were just doing a session for, the recent tournament that, again, I think Scotty Scheffler won another golfing tournament. So they are doing that tournament on their virtual screen. So go and have a go yourself if you think you're better than Scotty Scheffler, for some of you golf fans out there. But Mr. Ian Mills.
Hello, my friend.
What do you make of... Let's do a little bit of a debrief first.
Okay.
What did you make of that Blackburn game?
I'm not going to come on and I'm not going to say that it's the end of the world, because I understand that pre-season. Look, the most successful teams in the world have not had the best pre-seasons, and it's all about getting minutes in your legs, and it's all about getting fit and getting ready. However, I think there was a lack of tempo. I think Everton sort of attacked at a very, very slow pace, even when we had times to counter-attack. I think it shows maybe some glaring holes in Everton's first 11. Now I know David Moyes, apart from Jordan Pickford, played the strongest team on Saturday, and that indicates to me that he probably didn't want to lose the game. That he did have an eye on the result, and the days now, you're probably too young to remember this, but I remember being in the Everton playing the pre-season game in the 90s, and you'd get a little column in the Echo, and the following day, and it'd say, oh, by the way, Everton are in Austria and they played X, Y, and Z, and there's the score. But now the social media and the Everton TV and me and you and all what we do on YouTube now, it heightens everything, which I think made the manager think that he wants to go and win the game. It's not the end of the world, Mike, but I did notice some glaring holes there that I do think Everton. We knew before it, but I think it's more apparent after these 2 games now that there's holes in that team that we need to address.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I think it was a bit weird, really, because I got stick both ways. So I did my match reaction, and I got stick for being too lenient and not going in hard enough. And I also got stick for going in too hard and being too lenient. So it was really weird. And I feel like there is almost a massive divide as to where you are as an Everton fan, as to whether you are happy with pre-season for the fact it's just fitness, you're getting legs. The Championship teams were there a week or so before the Premier League teams, because their season starts a week or so before ours. But you're on the other camp and you go in, it's not good enough, it's unacceptable, we should go into every game wanting to win. Winning breeds a winning mentality, etc., etc., etc. And if I'm being honest, I sort of sit in the middle of both camps, and I get it. I get both sides. I get the frustration. And don't get me wrong, there was players on Saturday that, I'm not going to lie to you, frustrated me. And it won't take a rocket scientist to work out those players. They frustrated everyone, I'm guessing. But on the flip side of that, you are right. It's glaring obvious what we lack. And the annoying thing about that, and this is the bit that I sort of wanted to talk about, was me and you come on probably 2 weeks ago now, and we said by the time we go to America, we pretty much want the players in that we sort of want. You know, we want the centre mid, we want the right winger, we want the striker, centre half sorted, Garner sorted, etc. It feels. I don't know whether you agree with this, and some Everton fans won't, because there's two camps, as I say. But in my opinion, I actually do think we are a week or so behind where we should be now, because we haven't signed those players. And I'm concerned going into America, playing Premier League teams, that would have been a good opportunity for us to bed this team in with what we are going to be starting with come the first game of the season. To have it pretty much there, ready, on the go, you know, flying into the season. And we're going to be starting a left winger at right wing, or a 16-year-old who, you know, has done very little wrong, really. And a centre midfield, which I don't think will start the Premier League season. So I think those two glaring holes are huge. And I am hugely concerned that we have not put somebody in there. Do you agree or disagree with that?
No, I think it's a very, very fair assessment. I think you've described the current fan base's mood very well. That it does seem to be one side or the other at the minute. And sitting in the stands and having a pint at half time at Ewood Park on Saturday, you could hear that. You could hear some fans saying, "Don't worry, you know, I'm happy that we're taking our time to get it right." And you hear the other fans saying, "Well, no, this is too late into the window now. We're going to be held over a barrel." I think the answer's somewhere in between, and I think it's not going to become apparent really where we are at this stage until the season starts. Now, would I, similar to what you said there, and we spoke about on this channel, would I like Everton's full first team for 25-26 go to America, have double sessions, prepare, get to know each other, figure out how they're going to attack, defend as a team, do the fan events, connect to the club? Yes, I think we're behind in that respect. I would have liked. I do still think we're one big signing in this summer. I would have liked him in now. I would have liked the big signing in now and gone to America and done all of that. I do still think that we'll get a big signing. There will be a statement signing. And I'm conscious now that I'm sort of changing my narrative, but I'm sort of now thinking that, okay, they've just got to be in by Roma now. And that's where we are. We haven't got them in by America. We haven't, unless Everton do a deal in the next 24 hours. I think Everton leave on Wednesday morning for America. So unless Everton magically do something that we don't know about tomorrow, then you're probably looking at someone meeting up at best mid trip now to USA. But I look, I'm like you. I get both sides of it, and sometimes I fluctuate between both sides. I'll sit there and I'll think about football, and I'll think, okay, well, there is still, you know, best part of 6 weeks left for Everton to go and do the business. And if you look at it, the window's not really been kind to a lot of teams. I think Arsenal, Liverpool, and City have really tried to dominate the window and do what they need to do. And apart from that, other teams seem to be just waiting for something to happen and maybe get a domino effect. And I think once somebody goes and once somebody spends, you'll see it. No one seems to have done it. Everton are not the only club this summer to have not gone and made their signings, but we can only look at it as an Evertonian, can't we? And when you look at it as an Evertonian, like I said, I really, really would have liked, hypothetically, if it's Grealish, I would have liked it that in now, and I would have liked him to have gone to America and Everton to play football with that player in their team.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think the concern is that because there's so many gaps. Me and John were on the phone today, and you know we were talking about the team as it sits at the minute, and you know, it's obvious that John. To be fair to him, John is very much in the camp of we've been let down. It's typical Everton. It's not good enough. We shouldn't be losing. And I very much was in the opposite camp. Me and John were clashing terribly. I mean, you know for a fact, me and John were clashing terribly on and off camera. But I'm sort of starting to sway towards John. You know, I'm starting to sit there going, you know, this is a pre-season where that hope was there. You know, this new beginning, this new foundation, this new momentum, this new back group of people, and you know, you go from thinking, oh, we can't spend any money, and oh, we've got PSR issues, and oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. You know, this player's not going to find us attractive, to going, God, Everton are going to be challenging for Europe, and we're going to be dominating, and we're going into a new stadium, and the shop opens tomorrow, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
And that optimism it's actually the optimism that causes the problem, because there's been so many people that have been so up about the future that have just slowly but surely sort of pop, and the balloon is just trickling down to earth.
But it's very, sorry to interrupt, that's very easy to bring that momentum back. Everton just need to go and act. And I think, like I said, whoever the new signing is, the major signing, I think the mood will change. And I think where we are now as a fan base is because that's not happened, the mood hasn't changed yet.
So, talking about signings, because we all know what we want, and we've been linked with several players. And again, me and John were talking again today, and we were talking about, there's either Everton are working really hard behind the scenes, and we're putting in bids for players, we're talking to clubs, we're trying to get things done, or we're sitting on our hands, we're waiting for the market to play out, we're seeing where the market is in terms of pricing and what players are going where, and basically moving at the last second to say, right, we want that player, how much is it going to cost? And somebody then can't come in and gazump us because we're the last one to the table, sort of thing. Or it's really poor planning. And it's one of those three things, really, isn't it? You know, it can't necessarily be anything other than one of those three things. But the worrying thing for me is the players that we have been linked with, and then news articles come out about what their perception of Everton is. And I'm going to use Douglas Luiz as an example. It was fairly obvious that Everton have wanted Douglas Luiz. There's been various different articles about how strong that interest is, but I think it's obvious that Everton have wanted or considered Douglas Luiz an option. But then last night, an article come out basically saying that Douglas Luiz is not keen on pressing ahead with Everton because he wants to see what his options are. Mm-hmm. And my concern is how many players in that sort of category, that player that would push us on, how many players have said that to us, bearing in mind there's the new stadium, there's the new owners, there's new optimism, and they're looking at it and they're going, I'm not bothered. And that's what worries me.
I think you're right. And I think the generation now of especially the younger players, and I'll probably catch a lot of flack for this, but it's just my opinion. I don't think the stadium means a lot to them. I think if they come in and they go, well, I play in stadiums similar to this, regardless. And if you're a really, really ambitious footballer at the moment, and you're not an Evertonian, you're probably looking at Everton as your stepping stone. Now, when the alternative stepping stones are playing European football or they play in London, and your partner has got a voice in this, and they might be happy to maybe go abroad for this stage of their life, or live in London at this stage in their life, or be it an older player who's got family and children settled in certain areas. So all of that comes into play, and I don't think Everton, and again, I'll catch flack for this, I don't think we're that appealing. I think if I was a non-Evertonian with a little bit of a finger on the pulse, I would have thought that this was a nightmare club to have been at the past few years. I probably couldn't have thought of anything worse, other than how great the fans are. You've always had a fantastic support base, and Goodison's always rocked, but it's a team that's always been in turmoil. It's got a squad full of a number of managers different managers' styles of play that have not been coherent together. League positions tell you that. Struggles and results tell you that. The fact that we had to go to someone who we initially went to 23 years ago to do the same job again tells you where this football club is. So if you remove the love and you remove the blue heart from it, I don't think that would that appealing. I think you've really got to sell Everton. I know Liam Delap was at Bramley Moore. We didn't seem to sell that to him because he chose to go and be Chelsea's backup striker. Fair play. Chelsea are going to play European football. And Pete for honours, he could be a part of it. This is who we're competing with. And you've mentioned there the Douglas Luiz story today, which I've seen that he's maybe holding out for a Nottingham Forest. Now, if Nottingham Forest can offer him European football, and we can't, we're straight away at a deterrent, aren't we? Then have we got to offer more money, more wages, and are we getting into the same situation that 2017, 2018 happens and 2019 happens, where we just blew teams out the water to get and overpaid on players who, albeit were good, were of a good level, but we paid over. So we've got to be quite cautious. We've got to be quite careful. We're a football club that had 2-point deductions in one season and legged the owners as a fan base. We legged the owners because of how bad we were at. So having a little bit of caution at this point, whilst it is disappointing and it's that the fan base isn't in the most buoyant mood as a collective group, I don't actually think it's time to really panic. I think we've got to just look at it now and go, okay, we're going to go to America and let's try and enjoy watching the games in America. And can Harrison Armstrong get more minutes? Is there positives from this situation? The positive would be that Harrison Armstrong now gets more minutes, that we might see Clark and Heath a little bit more. And you know, if you can't play these kids, they have to have a sell-on value. That's the only other alternative for them. So we've got to take the positives from it. I'm not quite as you know, what's the right word I'm looking for? I'm not panicking as much as some. But I understand that panic, but I think at this point, I think we do have to trust where we are. That we've been through such a horrible time supporting this football club, and if this new owner's coming in with a new manager, and if their opinion is right now that Everton have to be careful, and they have to get the right deals for the football club, then we have to trust that.
Yeah, and I think I'm very much in that camp. I'm frustrated that we haven't signed, you know, the key players. Yeah, probably, but it does take time, and we've gone through so much stuff that, you know, if this season ends up being the season that people won't like me saying this, but if this season ends up being the season we finish 10th and we don't challenge for Europe, then so be it. Because we need to build, you know, we all at the start of this were saying, you know, we need to build for the future. You can't build Rome in a day, blah, 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 blah. But yet the optimism then kills you, and you expect European football, you're expecting to be challenging. Me and John both predicted Everton would finish 8th. And when you look at that in hindsight, there's a hell of a lot of things we have to do to finish 8th next season. With the clubs that are around us, the teams that have struggled this season, the teams that will probably be better this season. There's the top 6 plus Villa and Newcastle. Brighton always up there. Fulham, Palace. You know, these are teams that have already got fairly solid Premier League groups of players. That some of those teams, their players are probably in some positions better than Everton's. You know, we've struggled for goals, we've struggled for attacking options for years now. So when you look at other teams, we are not in the same stratosphere. So I get it, and I'm not losing sleep over it. I just would like to see us kicking on now. I'd like us to start bringing in these players, and I don't think it helps when there's articles. So I think the Times released an article yesterday. I'm sure it was the Times, and they come out and said that Everton can spend £150 million. And you read that article and you think, well, one, I personally don't know how true that is. But secondly, it doesn't help because it basically fuels the fire of fans that maybe aren't as happy about the situation, and maybe their opinion. 100%, you never hear me shoot down anyone's opinion, but it's not going to help those guys deal with the fact that we haven't got those players in. If people are telling us that we can go and spunk money up a wall for no reason, sort of thing, it just doesn't help. And we've also seen that in two cases, I think it's obvious that McAtee and again Douglas Luiz, two players that Everton clearly like. But since Everton have said we are interested in those players, or maybe had that initial discussion, or reached out to the clubs, or just even thought about it, their price tags have gone up. So Everton are in a really difficult position in terms of player trading as well, because it's not like you can look into our team and we can go and get rid of a half decent player, but replace him with a quality player. Because one, we haven't got the squad depth, and two, no disrespect to our players, but there's only 2 or 3 players that are worth anything.
Well, it goes back to what we just discussed initially, doesn't it? Where if you're James McAtee and you're a young, I'm assuming he's a Manchester City fan, but let's just go with he's not an Evertonian. So you're a young footballer who supports somebody else, and you've been brought up into the City ranks, which is a very, very good academy. It develops players. It develops some good players. So he's been part of that. You're managed by Pep Guardiola. You're part of the City project. If Everton come in for you, it's a step down. It's a step down, and people won't like me saying that, but it is. And he's probably looked at that and gone, Is there anybody else? Is it just Everton? And Douglas Luiz, who's played in the Premier League for Aston Villa, albeit I don't think they were doing very well when he was there. However, he'll have his finger on the pulse of where Everton are, and he's at a huge club at the moment. And his agent says Everton. He's probably going to say anybody else. He's probably going to ask the question, is anybody else in? And I think that is a large part of the problem. I think we've clearly identified some players. To a lesser extent, Kenny Tetty was being identified as someone to come in and help, and he thought the grass was better in his own garden. He stayed where he was, and I think there's a lot of that, and for that reason, I think it's a difficult market for not only Everton, for a number of clubs. Those clubs you mentioned there, where you're from 8th to around 15th. If I was a player with no links to those clubs, I wouldn't have a preference. I wouldn't go Everton won the league in '87. I wouldn't say that Blackburn, I wouldn't go, this team done that. The history, the way we look at our football club, the way we rightfully look at our football club through pride and honour, and we peacock and we say we're the best. I don't think players with no links to other football clubs look at it like that, because, and again, I think that's an issue. I think that is an issue where some players are waiting for their best offer. And is Everton the best offer for someone at the minute?
And that's the bit that we've sort of been saying the whole window, haven't we? Like I said, I remember saying about Douglas Luiz at the start. I said, look, he would be a great signing. I just can't see it happening. And that sounds awful, but it's honest, because it's probably going to be the players that are playing in the team that finished, I don't know, 9th, 10th, who aren't in Europe, that would look at Everton and go, well, actually, maybe they are a better planned future, exciting time than maybe the teams that aren't competing in Europe. But as soon as you do play in Europe, your chances of, progression, opportunity, and it works in any career, by the way. This isn't just football. You can work for any business in the world, but if there is a bigger business that will pay you more, that can offer you more, or offer you more opportunities, you tend to go. And Everton are in that period where they can't really offer anything other than the project, and it's whether people are particularly bothered about the project, and that's the difficult situation. I look at the situation, and I'm glad we went and got got Thieno Barra. It's clearly a target that we wanted. It's my first choice striker was always that Walton Mead, and it looked like he was going to Bayern Munich. The deal's now off, so he was my first preference, but Barry was definitely my second. And I hope he has a really successful future at Everton, etc., etc. But we just need more, and I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know what it looks like, and is it going to be that 29, 30-year-old player that has played at Manchester City, or has played at Arsenal and Chelsea and Real Madrid and the Barcelonas, and they're the players that you're asking to get a group of players that haven't played in Europe, that aren't used to the expectations that this project have got, and are those the players that come into this club and push them forward? I don't know the right model. I don't know, but you've either got the young, hungry, ambitious, ends up being fantastic, like João Pedro, for example. Or you've got the Jack Grealish that has seen it, done it, experienced it, and can come in and nurture the young lads. It works either way. I don't know which way is best. One has massive wages, but could almost be an instant hit. Whereas you've got one that's lower wages and might be a slow burner, but you probably get a bigger resale value. I don't know the right way of doing it, but all I do know is I'm glad I'm not paid to do it with a job as big as Everton's, because this fan base absolutely deserves to get back to where we, in my opinion, we should be, and we were 30 years ago, for example, 35 years ago. 4,500 away fans at Blackburn. Plus,
mate, it's the kids. And when you see the kids, the kids at Accrington and the kids at Blackburn. And I was on a great coach on Saturday where all the kids were starting the songs and the adults were joining in with them. And I look and go, I just hope that somehow by hook or crook this can turn for you, because it's been a bit of a bad time to be an Evertonian for a long period, hasn't it? And the loyalty that thousands and thousands and thousands of fans, whether you're turning up or you're praying that you get a season ticket and you're paying 60 quid to be in a waiting list and you're trying your best to get there by hook or crook. It deserves a lot more. It deserves a lot more than what we've got. But I think my, just to really close out what I'm trying to say is I don't think Everton are not trying. I just think it's a very, very difficult window, and I 100% get the frustration. I'm frustrated as well.
Last thing I'm going to mention, because there isn't loads of news going out. There's not loads of rumours, but Maid Kubo from Real Sociedad has been linked again today. Again, look, I don't particularly know the journalist that keeps posting this stuff, and obviously we did see it from Bobble about 3 weeks ago as rumours that Everton were interested. So I don't know whether there is genuine interest or not. There could be, there could not be. I've got no reason to believe there isn't. It's a gamble in my case, because I think he's a very, very good technical player. He's quick, he's pacey, he's only 24. He's got all the ticks in the box almost. He didn't seem to have a great season last season, but the seasons before and various others, he was fantastic. How much do you read into these rumours, or do you look at these rumours and do you believe them, or do you think that there's players out there that we are talking to that are not in the media?
There's only a few journalists that I pay attention to, really, and I don't want to name any names of the ones that I don't. I think by naming the ones that I do is unfair on the ones that I don't, but it has to come from a credible source for me. When our website is just saying Everton are in for, or you get this radio channel understands that Everton would like, I don't pay attention to it. I think it's very easy, and I think we're in the industry now where clickbait and clicks and hits and views and subs is food on people's table. So I'll never criticise people for doing that, but there's only about 3 or 4 journalists, and I think you're probably the same as me. There, you go, okay, now there's something in that. I'm not going to listen to rumour. no one for me has really discussed Kubo in enough detail for me to think there's anything other than he's on a list. He's probably on a list, and I don't think Everton have really got. I don't think Everton have made a move for him. I think we may be scouting him now in pre-season. I don't know, but I don't think there's a lot in that. Similar to the Bakayoko one, where there was rumours that we were in for him, and then he's not really happy to come to Everton, and then we maybe move down the list. And that happens with every football club, doesn't it? It's not a bad thing to have a number of targets for one position, but I would love to be wrong, but I just don't see nothing imminent. I just don't think over the next few days, unless we're keeping it really top secret and we're moving in the dark and the shadows, I just don't see anything imminent.
It's interesting, isn't it? Right, I have not got anything else to add. I'm not going to. I'm going to finish on a bit of a negative point, which is what I've sort of put it in here. But there was a Facebook group over the weekend that decided to take a shot at my reaction video. Downloaded it off YouTube, shared it on Facebook, and by all accounts, has been completely shot down. So I just want, and I will end this video on, remember, we are all just humans and we all just have opinions. I'm not right. I'm also not wrong. I don't know. You don't know. None of us know, unless the people who are involved in all of these things actually watches this channel, which I highly doubt. So just remember that this is not jobs, occupations, this is hobbies, this is just, getting it off our chest, talking about it. The channel was set up so I could connect with other Everton fans. Being a Brummie, it's always difficult. There's not many of us down there, so it's nice to be able to comment and connect with each other. So look, I'm just saying, instead of absolutely destroying that channel, which I can assure you, if you are watching, we could do, we're not going to, and there's no need. And please refrain from personally attacking other content creators, because it wasn't just me. There was another one that was attacked, and there is absolutely no need for it at all.
No, I don't like that at all. We put our faces on the internet because we like the interaction, and we answer comments and we talk to people and we see people. I don't like people purposely trying to ridicule others. I don't like that. I don't think. I mean, there's channels I don't like. I'll never tell you who I don't like because it's not fair on them. Why? What's that going to do? It's going to make me. I'm a prick for doing that. Why? And I just don't get it. I seen the Facebook group. I'm sorry you went through that, mate. I don't agree with putting someone's face on there and trying to ridicule them. I just think that's in any walk of life, I think that's poor form.
It was nice to see that it backfired. I will add to that. Just everyone that supports me, thank you ever so much for having my back, because there was not one negative comment towards Mike in the end. So you supported me. You're all fantastic as always. The Blue Boys Network Army continues to march on. Just Millsy, just highlighting channels you don't like. I can't stand that Across the Park podcast, because there's not enough videos for me. There was a video this week, which was a great video. You and Judgy were there talking away. StreamYard set up this time, not the studio, and we just need more of it, Millsy. So get your finger out and create more content, mate.
No, I agree, mate. I watch the Across the Park podcast sometimes, and what annoys me is just how good looking they are. How good looking sons of bitches them two lads are. So whatever you're eating at Across the Park podcast, please share it, because you guys are handsome bastards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Specifically, that Judgy. Right. He doesn't score bad goals either, as well, from little corners.
He's a baller.
Yeah, he's almost as good as me. You can tell him that. Right, guys, we will leave it there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Make sure you do go to Across the Park podcast and you do watch the latest video and you do subscribe to the channel. They are great lads, great people. And Mr. Ian Mills and a bad-looking chap is so support him. We continue to be sponsored by Flyers. We have not been cancelled in the last 34 minutes and 57 seconds. So please get over to the website and support the team there. Make sure you do come over and see us for the Roma game. We are looking forward to being introduced via a pint. So come and get a pint with us. Come and have a beer. And we look forward to smashing Roma in what may end up being our only pre-season win this season. I didn't say that. Up the Toffees.